Okay, so I believe we have started recording. Welcome, everybody. Did just want to let everyone know this webinar will be recorded. So wanted to make everyone aware of that. You feel free to mute yourself and also feel free to put your screen on blank if you don't want to be part of the recording. That's fine. I've got myself up here and Jody, of course, is up here. Welcome to our webinar for November 5th, 2025. This one will be on our education options for the state. I'm Katy Myers, for those that don't know me. I am a representative on the Goffstown Homeschool Community Board of Directors. And part of our charter at GHC is to get information to parents and families out concerning all of their education options in the state. So I was happy to meet Jody at an event and get hooked up with her. And I learned a little bit about her at her educational nonprofit, EdOpt for short. And so I'm glad that she's able to join us tonight for a little Q&A. So welcome, Jody, and thank you very much for being on this call.
Yeah, my pleasure.
And if you want to just start, tell everybody who you are, where you're from, and a little bit maybe in your background in education.
Sure, yeah. So my name is Jody Underwood, and my background is very education-centric. I have a PhD in learning sciences, and I spent my career designing software for learning and assessment, but also studying. Basically, that means I studied how people learn. So I was trying to, create good digital environments for both learning and assessment. I worked for educational testing service for a long time and did some creative and innovative stuff on learning environments there. Worked on some assessments there too. I was also on the Croydon School Board for over 12 years. And so started, looking at the system from inside or maybe slightly outside, depending on how you look at that. And, did some good things and some less. I mean, I didn't make as many, I don't know, changes. I wasn't as helpful as I could be or as I thought that I could be. Although, I mean, I did some good things while I was on there, but I also realized that it was really hard to make change from inside. And then I retired from my day job. I'm lucky that I was able to do that a couple of years ago. And then within 6 months, this idea for education options came up. I mean, so I'm very aware and active around legislation. So I'm also part of the School District Governance Association. It's another nonprofit, a New Hampshire nonprofit. And our mission there is, I'm on the board there, I'm a founding board member, is to help school board members discover their actual powers, their legal powers, what they're supposed to be doing. They're not supposed to join the administration and work with them on the school. No, they're supposed to let the administration do their job, but oversee them and make sure they're doing the right thing. And I think a lot of them these days are dropping the ball on that. And they want to be considered nice people and they care what the parents think, and I get that, but they're not doing their job. So anyway, so the idea for education options came up because we kept coming across people that were unaware of many things. I mean, New Hampshire is rich with options. And so, you might know that there's homeschooling, but you don't know about co-ops. You don't know. I mean, I'll tell you a story. So somebody contacted us, and we are open to people contacting us directly to ask us for their specific stories, right? Somebody contacted us saying they have 2 kids in elementary school. One is bored and one is falling behind. I live in the middle of nowhere. I can't homeschool. Please help. So we got on the phone, and so we had a conversation, and what she didn't know really surprised me. So she lives. I live in the Upper Valley of New Hampshire, and so does she. So she doesn't really live in the middle of nowhere. But she thought she did. She didn't know that there was a very large homeschool community here. So that alone was just like, really? Tell me more. So I was like, well, some families get together and do co-ops, so they share the burden. They might hire somebody to teach a particular course. They might, and everybody can do it however it suits their families. And she was like, oh my God, we're allowed to do that? I mean, the word allowed really triggered something in me, It's like, you're allowed to do whatever you want. They're your kids, and you figure out the best way to do it. So she's like, how do I start? And I pointed her to the Upper Valley Homeschool Community Facebook group. And she got on there and made a post. And within a couple of hours, 4 people were like, oh, I live right down the road from you. Yeah, let's do something. So it was beautiful. And this is the kind of story I like, that we helped somebody. But it also shows the things that she didn't know, two big things, about
Wow.
homeschooling. And then in further conversations, I mean, I have a number of stories. We found that, and this surprised me, that people didn't know that charter schools don't charge tuition to people, that they're paid for by the state and by fundraising. But you're like, oh my God. And this came up in Claremont, where, they're having big financial problems right now. And a lot of the
Yeah.
families are really afraid that the school is not going to stay open for the entire year. And when they heard about the, charter schools, they were excited. More than one family told me they were excited to learn that. So these are the kinds of things that, we're trying to get out there. And then there's, just so many programs that people don't know about. But I mean, maybe that's too deep. I should say what my website is. So it's education options. It's edopt.org, EDOPT.org. And so we have this, what I think is a very engaging website. So we have a map. I think I can demonstrate it for you, being we're online and stuff.
Oh, that
Um,
would be wicked
yeah,
cool.
why not? So let
I
me
love this
share.
map. I'm glad you brought up this map and that we're talking about it because in the past week, I've told, I think, 3 or 4 families about your map. So I really want to
Great.
get the word out about this because this is something we've never had before you built it, correct?
Absolutely.
So
Yeah. I
this
mean,
is,
so Children's Scholarship Fund has a map, but it's limited to only those providers that accept um, their scholarships,
okay.
and maybe just EFAs, and then granted stay home
Okay.
educators also, but they exclude people who accept
Yes. Okay.
EFAs. Um,
Ah,
so
okay.
we do it all. We have public schools. I'll show you. So I'm starting on the homepage so you can see. But if you go to find your options and you go to provider map, I hope you saw that pop up, but it's right up over the find your options. You'll see a map, and this works on your phone too.
So
And you have
Jody,
all.
are
Yeah,
you trying to share your screen with us so that
you're
we
not
can,
seeing it yet.
no, we
Oh,
still
it
see
says I
you.
can't share it. Sorry. Yeah, maybe you have to.
Uh,
Maybe
okay.
that's the free version, or maybe you can let me.
Ah,
I don't know.
I will play around with it when you, but I did find it pretty easy to find myself. So edopt.org, and then there's just a link or two to get to it, right?
Yeah, it's just off the find your options. Find your.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, find your
Find.
options, and then there's the provider map. But oh well, too
Okay.
bad. There's a map,
Okay.
and so it has filters, basically like looking for a restaurant, for example, but it lists everything,
Okay.
right? So
Okay.
it's the homeschool things, the public school things. So there's homeschool groups and activities and micro schools and learning centers. There's charter schools, there's private
I
schools, there's public
love
schools.
that.
There's Learn Everywhere. We also mark the providers that we know of that accept DFAs.
Okay.
We allow the providers to upload a video if they want, hopefully like less than 1 minute, and their
Okay.
logo, just to make it more engaging, and you can learn more about who they are before you
Wow.
decide to go
Okay.
contact them, right? So we're trying to make it
Neat.
really useful. But but this means if you get to our site, you can look around for all the different providers. There's even some preschools there, by the way. Not we haven't focused too hard on that, but we get requests all the time, which is an interesting
Yes.
place to start your homeschooling
Yes.
trajectory is from preschool. So I get that, even
Yes.
though we're thinking K to 12, right?
Yes.
But but I really want people to step back and say, what are my goals for my kid? Especially if you've
Mm.
already decided to homeschool, what are my goals? And I want to emphasize that what you shouldn't be doing is just trying to redo school at home.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually just met somebody the other day who has a community. It's online under school.com, SKOOL.com, that's helping people de-school. And it's really cool
I just
because
saw that. I thought on Facebook, a Facebook ad or something. I could have sworn I just saw that SKOOL.
yeah, it could have been.
I was wondering
once
what that was. Okay, cool. All right.
once you start saying it out loud, you'll see more ads for it, right?
Exactly. I'll get another one in a minute.
Yeah.
So tell
Um,
the listeners, the people that are the parents that are new, what is unschooling? What is that all about?
Right. And so, look, we all went to school, right? It was the norm. I mean, homeschooling in New Hampshire wasn't even legal until 1990. And, that's when families started doing it, but it didn't really skyrocket until COVID. I mean, it was growing,
Wow.
sort of well, but COVID really, made it leap and it's still growing.
Okay.
But so it unschooling is not doing school at home. It's figuring out again what your goals are for your child and working with that. Like, what do we want them to achieve? Clearly, we all want our kids to make clear that I said that correctly, to learn to read, to learn to write, to learn some basic math. But those are skills, right? And on the side, schools are only, I mean, they're not succeeding in this at all. 50% of kids are just not learning to read in a really good way. Um, but so again, I'll give you a story. So I have a friend whose kid was really interested in trains, and he made sure to he didn't homeschool his kid, but he helped guide him because it was before that happened, that it was easy to do. That everything he did was around trains. And even in college, like when he finally majored in something at college, his father was like, "You have to do something related to trains," and and he did. And now, or the last I heard, he was doing plane training for Los Angeles city, I mean,
Wow.
he actually really followed his bliss, he loved
Wow.
riding them, he loved understanding the engineering behind them, but throughout. So looking at not just what your kid likes, but what they're really driven to. And that won't become clear for all kids at
Yes.
young ages, but those who do, you have an opportunity as a homeschooler to really try to encourage that, right? Or
Yes.
finding things that your kids are just really good at. So here's, you know, another story is if you're so somebody I used to work for, when he was in college, he took an AI class, a class in artificial intelligence, and I have a background in that. So I actually did my undergrad and grad are masters are in computer science. So I did AI work back
Ah.
in the day before it was where it is today. But so he took a class in artificial intelligence, and his final report, he waited till the last minute and then he finally threw it together and he got an A. And so his take on that was, this is something I'm going into. It was easy for me. I did well in it. And so for kids to figure out for themselves what's easy for them to do that they can succeed in and go in that path is, I think, a good lesson. It's not to say that you shouldn't work hard to learn some things,
Right.
but again, it's for the parent to look at the kids and see what their proclivities are, and what they're good at, and then
Yeah.
you can start looking for the resources to help them do the
Yes.
thing you want. Um,
Makes
you know
sense.
there's a
Yeah.
there's a bill this year to remove all homeschool requirements. I don't know if you know about that,
I
but
haven't heard
so
about that one yet. Okay. Okay.
uh,
I'll be
I heard
following
an
that one.
interview with. Yeah,
Yeah.
and we have to go
Yeah.
down and
Yeah.
testify for these because
Yeah.
that helps make it happen. Real families, and
Yeah.
why would this
Yes.
be important? Um,
Absolutely.
yep,
Okay.
and that means you don't have to, like, who in the state, they're all deciding the standards and the goals and what you're
Right.
supposed to be doing. But who are
Right.
they? They don't know your
Right.
kids,
Right.
you
Right.
know?
No,
And
testifying. Yeah. No, we'll be doing that definitely. Yep. So Jody, you talked about EdOpt, you talked about the map. Tell us about, we keep seeing these EdOpt fairs all over Facebook, and I've been to
Sure.
one myself. I missed the Candia one. I apologize for that, but I'll go to the ones in my area as a vendor. But tell me from your perspective what they are and why would a parent or a family want to go to one of those?
Sure. So we've been doing them all around the state. We've done 14 so far
Wow.
over the last year and a half. We've only been around a year and a half. So
Okay.
we started April 2024 and only barely started. July is when we got our prototype website
Okay.
set up, and then 2024, and then August we started having these fairs. And we did them first in the Upper Valley, so I organized a couple and
Okay.
figuring out days and times and what works. And then we moved around. So goodness, I'm not even sure I can name them all anymore. But we
Yeah.
did one in Manchester, we did one in North Country in Littleton. We just did one in Keene this past Monday, Candia a week before.
Yep.
We did another one in Claremont, partially because of it's our area, it's our region, but also
Yeah.
because of their financial problems. We did one in Wolfboro where we had over
Nice.
100 people show up, which was amazing.
Wow.
Um, did one in Seacoast.
Yep.
We did one in Peterborough. So again, we've been
Yep.
all around, and I
Yep.
hope I didn't miss anybody.
You did one in
Where
Ware. I went to
we
the
did
one
one
in
in Ware.
Ware.
Yes, yes, yes. And we
Awesome.
did two in Ware actually because we had a snow day on
Oh,
the
that's
first one.
right. Yep.
Yes. So what's there?
Yeah.
So we get a local organizer, and if anybody wants to organize one in their area, they're welcome.
Okay.
And we help. It's a co-organizing thing. So
Okay.
we do a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff, but you need a local person to invite the education providers, and we like to get a good smattering of everything that's out there. We invite the public schools, the charter schools, the learning centers and micro schools. I like homeschool to get some homeschool representatives. So there was one fair where we had one homeschool group there, and one of the comments was, I'd like to see more examples of homeschooling because no two people
Mm.
do it the same way, and you
No.
want to hear the different approaches.
Yeah.
So I like to get as many homeschool people as possible there. And then homeschool activities, we had an acting group at one. We've had
Oh, neat.
First Robotics has shown up to a
Perfect.
couple. So just all these different kinds of things. And we like to get between 10 and 15 providers so people can come and talk to them and see what they do,
Okay.
and whether their kids would be appropriate for those activities or schools or, whatever they
Okay.
are. Yeah.
I love that. Now you invite charter schools and traditional public schools to these events as well.
Yes, and private schools. Yeah,
That's what I thought.
absolutely.
Okay, perfect. So it's just like
Everything
the
in the
website.
area.
Everyone's included, everybody's invited, nobody is excluded or left out. It's really a school choice fair type of thing, right?
That's it.
Okay. Okay,
Right.
cool.
We go across the board there. We're trying to support everything. Yeah.
I love that. I love that because
Yeah.
there's no one fit for all the kids, and that's why we're doing this. That's what we
Exactly.
found out.
That's
So I love that. Okay, great. Now you also do consultations for parents, a mom or dad. You gave us a couple stories, so maybe give us another example of why someone might call you. Could this be a parent that works full time and kids go full time to school, but she or he wants to homeschool, but they don't know what to do? Like, could someone that hasn't even started give you a call?
Oh, absolutely. I would
Okay.
more expect that than somebody
Okay.
who's already started, although
Okay.
I welcome anybody who really feels like, wow, I haven't solved my problem yet.
Okay.
So that that full-time worker, we talk about homeschooling and learning centers and all these things, but there are also hybrid models, right? You can do a little of this and a little of that. If you homeschool your kid, you can send them actually to take classes in your local public school. If
Mm-hmm.
you are an independent homeschooler, you can do that for free because they get money from the state.
Mm-hmm.
And if you get EFAs, then you actually have to pay, and that's actually in the law. So you can't do that for free. That's the one downside, I think, of EFAs. I mean, honestly, in my opinion, there's more than one downside to EFAs.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. But that's
but
your opinion. Yeah.
that's not what we're talking about here. So yeah,
Right. No, that's okay. Yep.
yeah.
Okay.
But the hybrid model is something that people don't know about. So people who feel stuck,
Mm-hmm.
like they can't homeschool, well, maybe you can do it a little. Maybe there's a learning center in your area. Maybe you are an entrepreneur and you want to start a learning center for your kids and then,
Mm-hmm.
kids in the neighborhood. and
Mm-hmm.
nearby towns. So, I want to talk
Yeah.
about all of it. We get some calls about special ed, and I have a
Okay.
growing network of people who know about special ed in New Hampshire, and honestly, just beyond, like, just how can you deal with that by yourself. And
Yes.
one of the things I hear about special ed is that many times when you take your kid out of the public school, they don't need the services that they were given there. So then you really have to wonder what's going on there, right, in the
Okay.
schools.
Interesting.
Um,
Okay.
yeah. So we're trying to hit it all. There's a lot.
Yes.
So I'm
Yes.
growing the network to leverage that, I can get advice from other people. I certainly don't know everything, but we have a few people that help us with all of that.
Wonderful. Okay. So we've got EdOpt. And what's the mission? What's the mission statement or the mission of EdOpt? What's really your focus area?
I mean, the focus area is to educate families around New Hampshire about all their education options. I mean,
Perfect.
that's it. And to
I love it.
support them in it. Yep.
And you're a local nonprofit, you're a charity, so people can donate.
We are a 501c3 nonprofit. Yes. So you
Perfect.
can deduct it from
Perfect.
your federal income tax. Yes,
I love that.
absolutely.
Awesome.
Hmm.
Okay. So we talked about the consultations, the EdOpt fairs that we've seen. We've talked about the mission. We've talked about the amazing map. Those are the big things that jump out in my mind when I think of your organization. Is there other things that I'm missing that we should mention on the call, or anything
Um,
else you wanted to mention or talk about on the call?
right. I'm not sure. When I
Okay.
when I give this presentation to more cold audiences, I like to motivate it, and tell them things like last year, 2024, 72% of families considered alternatives to public schools. But they didn't know what to do, but they considered it. They
Wow.
looked around at options. This is through polls and so on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I
And
believe it.
that
I believe it. The schools aren't the same as they were when we were younger, and there's so many more people, so there's so many more kids, and it's just in depending on where you live and the population of your municipality, your kid's going to have a completely different experience. My
that is it.
husband grew up in Vermont in a very small town, and I think he had 80 kids in his graduating class, but that was a public school. But
Mm-hmm.
he almost had that small micro school experience because he didn't have very many kids in his class, and it was amazing to him. And so when I tell him, our daughter was going to Mountain View Middle School with 1,000 kids, he's like, "What the heck?" And to somebody else, that's not even a lot of kids for a school, right? So it all depends on where you live.
It does, but I will
Yeah.
also tell you that schools are much more rigid than they used to be. I mean,
Mm.
so in Croydon, we have a K-4 school, and I mean, they have multi-grade classrooms, but they feel like they have to cover the standards for each grade,
Mm.
and instead of just meeting the kids where they are, they have 10 kids in a class. Like, teach them individually, you can, and they
Okay.
often
Yeah.
have 4 adults in a classroom, and they're not. I mean, they're they're trying to move them all along because that's their training.
Right.
It's very interesting. Yeah,
It
it's
is.
not how it was when we were kids. It really
No.
isn't.
Yeah.
Another thing I like to point out to people is that one of the biggest problems we have as a culture is that schools are judged by their intentions, and all the alternatives are judged by the worst possible outcomes. So
Mm.
when you hear things, when they talk about, oh, well, parents might abuse their kids if they homeschool them, this is like
Mm.
a fear, and
Yeah.
it's like,
Yep.
I'm sorry, there are teachers who abuse the kids in schools too. But we need to have the ammunition, the narrative to come back to them and say, judge us with the same standards that you're judging schools if you're going to do anything.
I
Um,
see. Yep.
it,
Yep.
it,
I see.
and don't forget that, right? That's our
Yes.
narrative, that this is
Yes.
so good for the kids,
Yes,
that
it is.
nobody cares more about their kids than parents.
I homeschool my two daughters right now, fifth grade and seventh grade, and we're closer than we've ever been. I've gotten to know them so much more intimately, not only about their schoolwork, but about their interests. And I'm able to spend more time with them. I'm able to really hone in on their personal interests and support those things that make them happy. This is how we're
Mhm.
going to fight this depression and anxiety and all these things these kids are having nowadays. I mean, they're both in middle school, so they're in the middle of that, all that chaos and drama going on in their biology and in their brains and stuff. And I'm just happy that they're safe with me and they're learning at home, and they're in 2 different co-ops. So I do bring in some other teachers and things to help them. And it's wonderful that we can do this. It's amazing. And I never would have thought that I could have done this. If you would have asked me 2 years ago, I would have never, ever told you I would be on a call with you right now doing this sort of thing in homeschooling. I'm on the path. I'm following God. I'm on the path, and I'm just living the dream, Jody.
So you want to tell us your story? Maybe people will see this that don't know about the Goffstown Homeschool Co-op.
Sure, yeah. So I am one of the founding members of the Goffstown Homeschool Community, and we are also a 501c3 public charity. And one of the things that we do, one part of our mission is to get information out to parents, similar to Jody. So I'll work with any other nonprofits, any businesses, any private companies, anybody that provides educational services to families or likes to get information out to families. We're all about educating, getting it out there for free or as low cost as possible, so that the parents really know about their options. Something else that we also offer is free to low cost social events. So we're doing candy bingo at Chunky's. So we're all going to meet there as a group. And these events are just for parents to meet each other, families to meet each other, kids to meet each other. I'm starting to meet the world of homeschool moms and dads, as I get more into this. And some parents want their kids just with more social interaction with other kids, and we are around during the day, and other homeschool families are. So hooking up with them, making friends with them. Often what happens is you'll make a lot of new friends, and then you'll be able to start your own co-op. So we did that under the GHC right now. We have a small group of tweens, teens. We have kids ages 8 to 12 in our co-op. We have 5 kids right now, boys and girls. And we meet at the Goffstown Congregational Church on Mondays from 1 to 3. And we are low cost co-op. We charge per month per kid. And you can we do have a website. You can check us out. It's goffstownhomeschoolcommunity.com. And that should bring you a link to our Google site that you can find all the information there on that. And that's what we're doing right now. We're talking about what are we going to do in the spring? What are we going to do in the summer? What are we going to do next year? And the cool thing about that is whatever the parents want to do. So I'm one of the co-op moms, and the other co-op moms and dads and people get together, and we really say, what do we want to do in this co-op for our kids? Oh, we want to do some music. Okay, let's bring in someone that can teach the kids how to sing a couple songs, because we want to go to Bel Air Nursing Home and, sing them some songs at Christmas time. We want to do cooking. Oh, okay, I have a friend that came in and did a cooking class for free. We want to hand sew. I'm going to teach the kids how to hand sew. That's really what we're doing. And we're all in charge of our own curriculum for our own kids. And so we do mini lessons. We did a mini lesson on the civics, the U.S. Constitution. We'll do mini lessons on science, history, math, all the subjects. And of course, we do sports and play games. And we made soap the other day. Actually, one of the other co-op moms taught the parents and the kids how to make soap. So it's been one of the most enjoyable things I've done in my entire life, to be honest, is doing this co-op with my kids, learning alongside my kids, seeing them learn. I leave co-op and I'm in such an elated mood. I think it's just an amazing experience. I'm so glad that we got to do this, and I'm so glad I live in the state of New Hampshire, and we're able to do this, because the laws here are pretty relaxed comparatively to other states, I would say, in my opinion.
All right, so I heard the other day that we are number 34 in homeschool freedom out of 50 states.
Does that mean on the
Worst.
lower end?
Yeah.
Oh,
correct.
Wow. Okay. Interesting.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Well.
Yeah.
Well, that's okay.
Anyway. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me take a minute and tell you what we have coming up. So
Sure.
National School Choice Week is the last week of January, and we actually got a grant to run 3 fairs during that week from the National School Choice Week people. That's an organization. So we're going to do one in Manchester. So I expect to see you there. Right? You're close enough to Manchester, right?
I am. I'm right near Manchester.
We're going to do Claremont again because we're just pounding on
Okay.
Claremont. And we're going to do one up probably in Dummer, New Hampshire, which is the north country. It's like the top of the state, but somebody told me she wanted to do it, so hopefully that'll still work out. And then in the spring and summer, we've got 6 things lined up already. One down in Nashua, and I could look it up, but they'll be all over, and people can subscribe. So I send out weekly or so emails to people, to our mailing list that talk about, we always have a section for our fairs. So that'll always be at the bottom end. And then we try to give some informational stuff, or sometimes it's just about the fairs. So people can just go to our website and there's a subscribe thing almost on every page. Yeah. So that would help people learn what we're doing. So that's us looking forward. And I'm wondering if we have any questions, because we are running out of time, aren't we?
We are, yeah. Does anybody have any questions they'd want to ask? A couple people left the meeting. We still have 1 or 2 maybe on the call. If anybody has any questions for Jody or myself, we're happy to take those.
You just have to unmute.
Yeah, and I know this person has muted themselves, I believe. I can't unmute them.
I mean,
yeah.
Well, it's up to them if they want to unmute and say something, but they don't.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, do you have any more questions for me?
I don't have any more questions. Just if people want to get in touch with you, we told them the website, edopt.org. Did you want to give, is there a way to contact you on the website, or do you want to give out your email address?
Oh yeah, I mean, that's easy. You can just send it to info@edopt.org and that gets to me. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Okay. Well, thank you, Jody. I appreciate your time. I'm happy to do this. Once I play around with the recording, I'll get that up there and I'll send it to you, and we'll post it so you can post it as well if you'd like.
Perfect. Great. Okay. Thank you so much for inviting me. Yeah.
Thank you so much for for joining us. Thank you, Jody. Have a good night.
Thank you.
You too.
Thank you, everybody, for joining the call. Have a great night.